Constitution, 22 chapters, 8 schedules, and 395 articles were there. So that comes under the written and lengthy constitution. Yes. Next on the partially flexible and partially rigid constitution. And that I have been explained why it is partially flexible, but it can be easily amended and it cannot be easily amended also. Parliamentary form of government. So whole power of the country, it has been vested in the parliament itself. It is vested in the parliament. In parliament, two houses are there, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. In parliament, two houses are there, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So Republican system. So in our country, even the president is been elected by the people itself, not directly by the people, but by the indirectly by the people he has been elected. In our country, president. Indirectly he has been elected by the people. So next, we will move to the next concept. Federal system. Just listen to me now. No need of going anywhere there. No need of going into pinging a message there. Yes. So next comes the federal system. So our constitution provides for the federal system of the government because our country consists of different language, caste, race, geographical region, etc. So in our country, for the administrative convenience, the power is been divided into two. For example, state government and central government. Central government and state government. Like that, the power is been divided each. So we are having the one central government for the whole country, and we are having the state government for each and every state. We are having the state government. We are having special provision is been given for the Delhi and Pondicherry. They are the union territories, but the special provision has been given to them to form a government. So this is being called as the federal system. So here, for the administrative convenience and for the administrative purpose, so by sitting in Delhi itself, we cannot look after the whole country. So for that reason, we have been adopted the federal system. Federal system means two government, one for this country and one for the state. But the central government has more power than the state government. Central government has more power than the state government. So here, the administrative powers have been shared. Between the central and the state government. How they have been changed? So here, we are following the federal system. So we are having the central government and the state government. So how they are being, how the power is been shaped? So here, central government. Central list, 100 subjects are there. State list, 61 subjects are there. In state list, 61 subjects are there. Concurrent list. In concurrent list, 52 subjects are there. 52 subjects are there. So like this, for the administration purpose in our country, subjects have been divided. So central list has 100 subjects. Under central government, 100 department comes or 100 subject comes under the central government. So that only central government has power to make rules, regulation, acts and bring new policies on this 100 subject. Got it? Let's come the state list. So state government has 61 subjects. State government has fully power to make rules, regulations, to bring new schemes, act on this 61 subject. Only state government has power. Concurrent list. So here comes the concurrent list. Concurrent list means here on this 52 subjects, both central and state government, they are having power to make rules and regulation to bring new act, new scheme on this 52. For example, education department. Here both central and state government make rules and regulation. Over the education. So that is one of the way you can say that. Here, and the Supreme Court possesses the power to solve all the dispute raising between the central and the state with respect to any subject. If there is any confusion or if there is any disturbance, confusion regarding the Central and the state government, or any dispute between the central and the state government. So Supreme Court has power to dispute to solve the disputes regarding the central and the state government. So this has been called as the federal system. The federal system so nam deshadalli nam bala dodda desha nadu. So alli amele ಭಾಷೆ ಜಾತಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಭೌಗೋಳಿಕವಾಗಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲೇ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಉಂಟು ಅಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯೂನಿಯನ್ ಟೆರಿಟರೀಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟುಂಟು, ಕೇಂದ್ರಾಡಳಿತ ಪ್ರದೇಶ ಎಷ್ಟುಂಟು ಅಷ್ಟು ಕೇಂದ್ರಾಡಳಿತ ಪ್ರದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಂಡಿಚೇರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹರಿಯಾಣಗೆ ಏನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಏನಂತೇಳಿ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ is regarding the federal system. This is regarding the federal system. So concurrent list is nothing but the here both central and the state government can make rules and regulations. So 52 subjects are there in concurrent list. In that 52 subjects, both central and state government. For example, as just now I said, education department, both central and state government will make and the food department, both central and the state government will make rules and regulations regarding the education, food, etc. certain departments. So voice is breaking, Shambhavi. The voice is breaking due to your network is slow, I think. Shambhavi, due to your network is low, I think. And Sumuk, same thing. If your network is low, your voice will break. So here, already having said. Already, central government has more power. If central government has more power than the state government, if any situation arises, central government can take any action against the state governments. And regarding the administrative purpose, in the administrative purpose, subjects have been divided. 100 subjects, 61 subjects, 52 subjects have been divided. So in this 100 subject, only central government has power to make rules and regulations. And in this 61 subject, only state government has power to make rules and regulations. And in this 52 concurrent list, both state and central government will make rules and regulations. For example, education department, food department, etc. So this is regarding the federal system. So next comes the fundamental rights. Already you are knowing regarding fundamental rights. So fundamental rights. So rights that the constitution has given to people is called as the fundamental rights. The rights that the constitution has given to the people is called as the fundamental rights. So no law or any government, central or the state government, or any organization can deny these rights. So if we have any rights, so fundamental rights, each and everybody has the fundamental rights in our country. Those who have been born in our country, those who are the citizens of our country, they are having the fundamental rights. If the fundamental rights are taken away, the citizen can directly appeal to the High Court or for the Supreme Court. These rights are listed in the third part of our constitution. These rights are listed in the third part of our constitution. So afterwards, we will discuss regarding the fundamental rights. So next comes the fundamental duties. Next come the fundamental duties. So next come the fundamental duties. So fundamental duties are our responsibility towards our country. Duties are our responsibility towards our country. So 11 fundamental duties have been detailed in the A part of the 4th chapter under the clause 51A of our constitution. These fundamental duties, they have been given detail in our constitution, where in the A part of the 4th chapter under the clause 51A of our constitution, in that detail they have been given regarding the fundamental duties. So through the 86th amendment to the constitution in the 2002, through the 86th amendment in the constitution in the 2002, it has been made the duties of the parents to provide compulsory education to the children between 6 to 14. So the 86th amendment in the year 2002, it says that parents should give compulsory education towards their children from the age group of 6 to 14. Remember this thing, 86th amendment of our constitution in the year 2002. It has been made the duty of parents to give education, to provide compulsory education to their children from 6 to 14 years. So this is the 11th duty mentioned in our constitution. This is the 11th duty mentioned in our constitution. So next comes the, regarding the fundamental duties, we'll study later. It has been given in details, we'll study it later. So this is the salient features of our constitution. Now we have been studying. So next, the directive principles of state policy. The directive principles of state policy have been incorporated in the 4th schedule of our constitution. The directive principles of state policy, it has been incorporated in the 4th schedule of our constitution. In the 4th schedule of our constitution. So these principles have been adopted from the Irish constitution. So directive principles of state policy, it has been adopted, or it has been incorporated, or it has been borrowed from the Irish constitution. Remember this thing. So directive principle of state policy has been borrowed from the Irish constitution. So they are the basis for the establishment of the socio-economic equality. Directive principles of state policy, they are the basis for the establishment of the social and economic policies. They are the basic principles required for the administration of the country. Yet the government cannot question the code of justice if it does not implement them. When the government frames a new law, it should pay the attention to all these principles. Whenever the government makes a new laws, rules and regulation, it should keep in mind the directive principle of state policy. It will keep in mind the directive principle of state policy. Why it has to keep in mind? Because it is the basis for the establishment of the social and economic equality. It is the basis for this social and economic equality. So one thing you have to remember, this directive principle of state policy, it has been borrowed from the Irish constitution. Why I am saying it here? Because while starting the lesson itself, I have said, our forefathers, or the who have been the framing of the constitution, they have been studied the constitution for the 11 months and 18 days. In that 11 months and 18 days, they have been went in details regarding the country, and they have been studied the various constitution of the world. And in that, some they have been, and some the finest points which fits for a country, they have been borrowed from the other constitution. So the directive principle of state policy is one of the points which has been borrowed from the Irish constitution. And next comes the independent and the centralized judiciary system. Next comes the independent and the centralized judiciary system. So here, our judiciary is independent and centralized. Our judiciary is independent and centralized. The court have the authority to give bold judgment in order to protect the rights of the people. Neither the legislature nor the executive has right to interfere with the working of the judiciary. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, and all the high courts and subordinate courts function under the Supreme Court. So here, independent and the centralized judiciary system. Even central government can be questioned by this Supreme Court. Even central government can be questioned by the Supreme Court. Even the state government can be questioned by the High Court, Supreme Court and High Court, if they have been done anything wrong. If any new policies or any new acts which are against the people, at that time Supreme Court can question the central government, even the state government, and even even the sitting CM, sitting chief minister is been put to the jail in our India. Sitting chief minister, no need to say their name. One of them has been she has been died. Jayalalitha was there. She was the sitting CM. She went to the jail. Even in Karnataka, one of the former chief minister, he went to the jail. Means these are the example. And one of the powerful central minister, Lalu Prasad Yadav, even now he is in the jail itself due to some corruption. Means why I am saying this? Our judiciary, it is totally free from the executive and legislature. It is so that is one of the silent features in our constitution. Independent and the centralized judiciary system. Not only those who have been committed the crime, even if any wrong has been done by the government, not by the individual, if any wrong has been done by the government, even they can be questioned by the Supreme Court and High Court. We can file a case. So this is the example that independent and centralized judiciary system. Next comes the single citizenship. So the Constitution makes provision for the single citizenship in order to curb the narrow-minded provincialism and promote nationalism. The citizen of the country have same right irrespective of their place of birth or residence. The legislature possesses the power to frame rules in the matter. But the country, so in our country, we are having the single citizenship. In our country we are having. So we are not having a double citizenship. For in a country like America, double citizenship they are having. One for the state and one for the country. But in our country, we are having the single citizenship. To make, means why the single citizenship? To remove the progressivism or to remove the Maharashtra, Karnataka. So now Maharashtra, now Karnataka, now Tamil Nadu, Bhavana, regionalism. To remove the regionalism from the mind of the people. We all are Indians. First, we all are Indians. Then we belong to our state or etc. etc. So that is. When you go to the other countries, you don't say that I am from Tamil Nadu, I am from Maharashtra. You say that I am an Indian. So that is the main thing here. Means here, single citizenship in our country to keep the oneness, among the people. So here, the legislature possesses the power to frame the rules and regulations. When the single citizenship is there, it will be easy for the government to frame the rules, regulations, and etc. But in country like America, they are having the double citizenship, one for the state and one for the nation. But in our country, where we follow single citizenship. Next comes the adult franchise. So the Constitution provides for the adult franchise. All citizens above 18 years of age may access their right to vote. It symbolizes the sovereign absolute power of the people. Adult franchise, those who are above 18, those who cross the 18 years above, they have a power to vote. Voting power is there after adulthood. So 18 ವರ್ಷದ ನಂತರ 18 ವರ್ಷ ತುಂಬಿರುತ್ತೆ 18 ವರ್ಷದ ನಂತರ ಅವರಿಗೆ ವೋಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಹಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ? ವೋಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಹಕ್ಕು. So this says that the whole power, it has been vested in the hands of the people itself. So next comes the bicameral legislature. The central legislature is called parliament. And the parliament consists of two houses. The central legislature is called as parliament. And parliament consists of two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Lower house is called as Lok Sabha, upper house is called as Rajya Sabha. So this has been called as the bicameral legislature. So this bicameral legislature, it has been found in some states also. Some say Vidhana Sabha and Vidhana Parishad. Not in all the states bicameral legislature are there, but only in some states. For example, in Karnataka, Gujarat, and in some states bicameral legislature is there. So Vidhana Parishad and Vidhana Sabha. So but in the parliament, two houses are there. Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Lower house and upper house. Lower house is called as Lok Sabha, upper house is called as Rajya Sabha. So last one in the silent features of a constitution, last one is party system. So political parties are the pillar of the democracies. There is a multi-party system in India. I think you are knowing it. So we are having the multi-party system in India. So BJP, Congress, JDS, Communist, Samajwadi Party, etc. parties are there. Trinamool Congress, etc. AIDMK, DMK, in Telangana, one particular two parties are there. In other country, in other Lok Shakti, etc. Parties are. So in India we follow multi-party system. In India we follow multi-party system. So the political parties are the pillar of the democracy. There is a multi-party system in India. There's a multi-party. So the party which wins the majority of votes in the general election becomes the ruling party, whereas the rest will be the opposition party. So which party has won the 2019 general election in the central government? Okay, no, messaging. Okay. So court is not under the government. So that's it. I have said independent and centralized judiciary system. So court is not under the government. They are independent. Even the ruling party MLAs, ruling party ministers, and the ruling party chief minister has been sent to jail in our country. That is one of the example that court doesn't come under the government. Court doesn't come under the government. So, sir, what if the government do not exist? We can live freely. So, in the democracy, for example, in the democracy, government must and should. For 6 months, we can live under the rule of the president. So, afterwards, there should be afterwards there will be election, and the newly government will be formed. Understood? So these are the silent features of our constitution. So the silent features of our silent features means nothing but the worth or the important features. So then the silent features of constitution, written and lengthy constitution, partially flexible and partially rigid constitution, parliamentary form of government, republican system, federal system, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, directive principle of state policy, independent and centralized judiciary system, single citizenship, adult franchise, bicameral legislature, party system. So these are the silent features of our constitution. Mention the silent features of our constitution. Question may come. Read on. Homework. Mention the silent features of our constitution. Mention the silent features of our constitution. Mention the silent features of our constitution. Read on the question. Or you can add which are the silent features of our constitution, anything. But I need all the points. Which are the silent features of our constitution? Written. It's a homework. It's a homework. Which are the silent features of our constitution? Can we move to the next? Yes. Now just look at here. We'll move to the next one. So just think while studying in the silent features of a constitution itself, we have been said regarding the fundamental duties and fundamental rights of fundamental. So now we'll go to the fundamental rights. Fundamental rights and duties. Rights and duties. Fundamental rights and duties. Fundamental rights and duties. So fundamental rights and duties. So yeah, fundamental rights provides the social and political atmosphere necessary for the development of the personality of the citizen. Fundamental rights and duties, they provide a special, they provide a person. So fundamental rights provide the social and political atmosphere necessary for the development of the personality of citizen. So they are required for the person to lead the civilized life in society. They are also the essential for the success of the democracy. Thus, there were 7 fundamental rights mentioned in the third part of our constitution. In the third part of our constitution, in the original constitution, 7 fundamental rights were there. How many were there? 7 fundamental rights. Through 44th Amendment, the right to property has been abolished. So, in the original constitution, how many fundamental rights were there? 7 were there. How many were there? 7 were there. Through the 44th Amendment, right to property was been abolished. Right to property was been abolished. So now there are how many fundamental rights are there? 6 fundamental rights are there. How many are there? 6 fundamental rights are there. 6 fundamental rights are there. Right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights. So these are the fundamental rights. How many are there? Total how many are there now? 6 fundamental rights are there. How many are there? 6 fundamental rights are there. So which fundamental rights has been abolished through the 44th Amendment? Which fundamental right has been abolished through the 44th Amendments? Right to property. Which one? Right to property has been abolished. So here, right to property has been abolished through the 44th Amendment. So now, today we'll stop a class here. So name the fundamental rights. Even that is also good. Abolished means removed. So Anand, certain words, if you search in the dictionary itself, you'll get idea. So write a homework. Mention which are the silent features of our constitution, and next one, mention the fundamental rights. So these 2 questions. So you have to send the homework after 6 o'clock in the evening. After 6 o'clock, you have to send the homework. And one more thing, Arthaita, homework abolished. And what you have been asked? Abolished means nothing but the removed itself. It has been removed from the abolished means removed. So better to, I think, if you leave the chat section and if you concentrate on the what I'm saying, it's better, I think. So yeah, sari maat kelkole homework kana ninne nange ellaru homework kan kalisilla. So compulsory nange homework beke ಬೇಕು. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? Homework compulsory beke ಬೇಕು. So ಇವತ್ತಿನ 2 question, which are the silent features of our constitution, and mention the fundamental rights. So these 2 I need. Okay. After 6 o'clock, you have to send the homework. You have to send your homework after 6 o'clock. Okay. So now you can leave the class. So tomorrow we will engage the class, because tomorrow I think tomorrow we'll finish up this lesson.